So, as I said, welcome along. I'm going to be talking about an incredible new technology in, in the form of a wearable light frequency patch that is absolutely transforming people's health. Um, it's allowing people to think differently about how they treat themselves because instead of having to put in tablets or injections to to try and kickstart your health, I guess it's allowing your health to heal from your body to heal from the inside out. And I'm going to also talk about the incredible business opportunity that's powering this because it might be new to you, but it's really taken off in America, different parts of Europe, Australia, and now New Zealand. So people are starting to wake up to being able to activate their own body to heal itself. So how I came upon this was probably late 2023. I saw a friend that was really struggling with his health. He had psoriatic arthritis. I don't know if you know what that is, but he had psoriatic arthritis all over his body. He had psoriasis all over his body. He was at the point where he really couldn't even walk up and down stairs. He had to sort of slide up and down stairs. But then I saw him several months later, and he was a completely different person. He had his energy back, he had his spark back, he had his life back. And I said to him, I said, mate, look at you. What's changed? You look fantastic. And he said, I've been patched. And I don't know if you've ever heard that term, I've been patched, but it's, it was like, what are you talking about? You've been patched. And he pointed to this little light frequency patch that was on the back of his neck. He said, I've got all my energy back. He said, the psoriasis in my body is gone. The psoriatic arthritis has left my body. And he said, I could, after 2 months, I could run up and down the stairs where he could only sort of slide up and down the stairs. So that piqued my interest. So when he said that, I thought, wow, because I've known this guy for 20 years. He's not somebody that exaggerates. He was not trying to sell me anything. He was just talking about his own personal experience. So I went to a presentation, very much like what I'm going to show you over the next 25 minutes, where a lady, Tessa Tremaine in Australia, she had brought the product into Australia and had built a huge network. She was a 62-year-old grandmother, and she was a single mum, but she was earning an incredible amount of money. And when I saw so I guess initially I saw the technology, and then I saw the opportunity. So what I'm going to run you through right now, I'm going to share my screen. So we often say, have you been patched?
Yeah.
And we're talking about elevating a copper peptide in your body, talking about activating your dormant stem cells and regenerating your body. So where this all comes from, David Smith, this is not something that has just popped up overnight because you're hearing a lot in the media about stem cell replacement. You're hearing a lot about peptides, but this is David Smith's life work. So that man is nearly 70. The picture of that man there is just about 70 years of age. But around about the year 2000, he was contracted by the American military to find a solution for the Navy SEALs, because when they were in their subs under the water, sometimes for 36 hours straight, not seeing any light, their energy levels were low. So they were taking large amounts of caffeine. They were taking amphetamines to try and stay awake. So that's what he was contracted to do. Now he started down this light therapy patch, but then 9/11 came along. And when 9/11 came along, the American military pulled their funding out of this type of research and put it into weaponry. And so David Smith then went into the private sector, which is a really good thing, because if it had stayed with the military, it may never have seen the light of day. So David Smith has nearly 300 patents. He's a scientist, he's an inventor. He specializes in age reversing. And in 2008, he focused his attention on stem cell research. And the patent to bring this to market it was took over 10 years to get the patent and $4.5 million to bring it to market. So why it was so difficult to get a patent and why this is so important, because in the US, to get a US patent, you actually have to be able to prove that it says what you say it does. You can't just go to the patents office in America and say, I've got this great idea about regenerating dormant stem cells. They'll say, go home, come back when you have the proof and you can show us that it actually works. So he did that. So this patent, and you can see this on a site that I'm going to send you, recommend you have a look at after this, but it talks about providing phototherapy to the human body as a result of elevating copper peptides. We'll talk about that in a minute. Including the activation of stem cells, improvements in energies, elevation of antioxidants, reduction in inflammation, management of pain, improvements in stamina, elevations of collagen production, and improved wound healing. Now, that's what he had to prove to the patents office before they gave him the patent. Now, the other thing that's important about a patent from a business perspective, this gives us exclusivity. Nobody else has this. You can only get this through a brand partner of LifeWave, and we still have 15 years of a 20-year patent. Now, anything else you see on Amazon or eBay is fake. They are complete fakes. They do not work. The only place you can get this, because of the patent technology, is on through a brand partner of LifeWave. So what is stem cell activation? I didn't know this. I heard about stem cells. I actually had stem cell replacement therapy through the hospital in New Zealand on a shoulder injury that I had, which didn't work, by the way. It cost me $7,500 and still didn't work. But what I found out is that stem cells make up every cell of our body. Stem cells actually made us, because you think we're a little sperm, we're a little egg, 9 months later, we're a baby. How does that happen? How does that happen so fast? That is stem cells building us. So when a child is born, they have all their stem cells. They have their whole complement. So when you see a child or a young person, if they cut themselves, they bruise themselves, they almost heal right before your eyes. That's stem cells. So the body's stem cells race in and heal that. So what stem cells are is our body's natural healing process. They're our first aid kit. It's like an army that goes and gets rid of inflammation, damage, heals cuts, and so forth. But the problem is, as we start to age, and this is part of the actual aging process, our stem cells start to decline. So by the time we're 30, only 50% of our stem cell production is working. So we only have 50% of our stem cells working. By the time we're 60, 90% of our stem cells have gone into decline. So our body is trying to heal itself on only 10% of its ability. That's why we age faster, but we often heal slower. And so with the X39, what it is, it's a wearable light frequency patch. Now, light therapy has been around for a long time. It's a very accepted medical practice for helping people and causing stem cell activity that is localized, but it's costly and it's time consuming. What David Smith has done is been able to recreate that in a patch. You just wear the patch. So inside of here, so the other thing I sort of didn't know, I knew, but I didn't know, is, well, I knew our body gave off heat, but I didn't know that our body gives off light. Just like plants, we take in light, we give off light. And all mammals do. You can't see it with the naked eye. But if you went on a topography map or you had night vision goggles, you could see that light coming off. So what this patch does, so inside of here, it's all organic, it's all natural. It is nanocrystals, which is microscopic crystals, amino acids and salts formed, and it's a lattice work of these. It forms like a mirror, and it reflects some of that light back into our body. And by doing that, it elevates a peptide. It's called the GHK-Cu copper peptide. Now, that peptide was discovered in 1973 by a French scientist, Laurent Paquet. And so it's only been discovered for 50 years. But it's this peptide, if you can elevate that in the bloodstream, and that's what David Smith showed the patent office when he got his patent, then that peptide will signal to your stem cells to start producing again. So now your own body's stem cells come back. Your body now produces the full complement of stem cells. Now, it happens over a period, it doesn't happen overnight because it's taken so long for them to decline. It's going to take a few months for them to come back. So the example I sort of often will give people is when you go in the sun, there is no vitamin D in the sun's rays. What the sun's rays do is that they activate the vitamin D in your body. Just like this, there's nothing entering your body. And this is no chemicals, there's no stimulants, there is no drugs. All that's happening is this is reflecting your infrared light back at a certain frequency to elevate that peptide, which then sends a signal to your stem cells to come back and start producing. So what are the benefits? They're just wide and varied, because when you can enable your body or activate your body to start healing itself, amazing things will happen. There's an increase in strength. I've noticed that. I'm probably lifting weights I was lifting 15 years ago. My recovery in the gym is phenomenal. I used to, because I'm well over 60, and I found that when I'd work out really hard, it'd take me a couple of days to recover. Now I'm ready to go the next day. Reduced inflammation. Now, inflammation causes so much pain. One of the reasons we can't heal is the inflammation in our bodies. Arthritis is inflammation in the joints. So one of the things your stem cells go and do is clean up inflammation in the brain, which is really important, in your joints, in your body. Increased stamina. I don't get tired like I used to get tired. I have a lot of energy and vitality. People keep saying, "How come you keep going all the time?" It's like, well, I don't feel tired. Well, I do feel tired, obviously at different times, but I don't feel tired like I used to. But one of the big things everybody notices is mental clarity. I noticed that after about a couple of weeks. Andrea was going through menopause. After about 3 or 4 weeks, the brain fog just lifted. She said, "I didn't realize how bad it was till it went." Restored skeletal, muscle and skeletal conditions. Now, with that, it's again allowing the body to heal itself. With me, I had a torn shoulder. It took me 2.5 years. I couldn't get on top of it. I was seeing a physio twice a week. I was seeing an osteopath once a month. I had stem cell replacement therapy. None of it worked. 4 weeks of just wearing this X39, the stem cells went in and healed my shoulder. It probably after about 4 weeks, about 80%, but over the next 2 or 3 months, that pain went. But I had my first pain-free workout for 2.5 years, just 4 weeks into wearing the patch. Everybody notices improved sleep. Being able to sleep better actually creates better health outcomes anyway. Improves skin appearance. Now, you'll see that because one of the other things that this peptide does, this GHK-Cu copper peptide, is it's responsible for collagen. So by bringing the collagen back, because that peptide also decreases as you age. So by the time you're 60% of that GHK copper peptide is not working either, or has gone into decline. That's why we get wrinkles. That's why our skin thins. So if you bring back your collagen, and why this is really important is that when we see people with wrinkles, we get wrinkles ourselves. I noticed that with me. My skin was getting a little bit thinner. That also happens on the inside because all our major organs are made up of collagen. Our heart, our lungs, our liver, our bones, our arteries, veins. So if we're getting wrinkly on the outside, we're getting wrinkly on the inside. So we're talking about being able to achieve optimal health, a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. So what are the results of the X39? Within the first few days, over 4,000 genes will begin to reset. Now, you won't notice this, but they begin to reset. They upregulate. They start to repair. Within about 6 weeks, your brain becomes more balanced. And one of the things we've noticed that with people, neurodiverse people with Asperger's, dyspraxia, ADHD, even autism, their brain becoming a lot clearer. Now, autism, for example, is not going to go, but finding kids that can now be able to speak a little bit because their brain is a little bit more balanced. My son had ADHD. He said, Dad, this has saved me. I can't believe I went out with a girl recently. He said, my brain wasn't racing in all directions. He said, I felt in control. I wasn't anxious. But after about 3 months, your collagen starts to come back. And as I said, not only does it come back on the outside, it comes back on the inside. But after about 6 months, your heart will reverse in age. Now, they found on the study group, and this was in the National University in Ireland, the average heart reversal was round about 8 years. Now, this is a topography map, and I love this, this slide. This is a 77-year-old woman. The slide on the left, that is inflammation in her brain. Now, that obviously is bad because that will lead, that is the start of Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's. So within just 3 weeks of wearing nothing, just having a doing normal things, but wearing the X39, within 3 weeks, it's almost all gone. Within 6 weeks, it's completely gone. Now, that is life-changing. Now, I've seen a neuropsychologist, a neurologist talk about this, and both of them are just blown away. They said, look, we could possibly do that over a couple of years with controlled drugs, but for this to happen in 6 weeks with something that with no drugs, it was just unbelievable for them. So how do we wear the X39? It's very simple. We just the patch here, we just peel it off. It's got a medical grade adhesive on it. I put it on C7 just on the back of my neck. That's just below the little bump just between your neck and your spine. It's quite a significant area because that's an acupressure point. And that's the start of your spine. But or you could wear it a couple of fingers, just 2 fingers below your belly button. And that's where your umbilical cord used to be. Andrea wears hers more below her belly button. I wear mine at the back of my neck. But you can wear it anywhere there's pain. So while I was trying to get my shoulder to heal, I put it on my shoulder. And so I just wore that on my shoulder instead of the back of my neck. But you wear it for 12 hours on, and then you take it off for 12 hours because you've got to give the body time to regenerate, and you don't want the body to become acclimated to it, which means you don't want the body to become reliant on it. You're 12 hours on, 12 hours off, but you must drink a lot of water because you will flush out all the dead stem cells initially because your body will go, great, hey, we're producing stem cells. Let's get rid of all these dead ones, and it will flush out. So you could get a little bit of a headache for a couple of days. Not everyone does, maybe 10% of people do, but that's just a detox. It's getting rid of it. Once that passes, you've flushed it out, now your body can operate, but you're just getting rid of rubbish. So that's a really good thing. And it's also, also recommended that you have some electrolytes. You can go down to even the chemist or the supermarket. I know you can in New Zealand and buy some Celtic salt and just put it under your tongue, a pinch of that, and that just allows the water to absorb into your cells. But it's also important that this is not a one patch placebo type thing or pill. This is going to help your body regenerate over time. So some people get results straight away. Some people it takes 6 months. It just depends what's going on in your body. So it's not like you get a headache, you take a Panadol, the headache goes away. Now that's just fixing the symptoms. This is going to heal this is going to go right to the cause, and your body in its time is going to heal itself. And definitely David Smith recommends really to get maximum results 1 month per 1 decade you've been alive. So if you're 60, it would be 6 months. If you're 80, it'll be 8 months. If you're 40, 4 months, and so on. But look, one of the best ways to really show the product, and we talk about, we use testimonials, because this is not FDA approved as a medical device. Because if it was FDA approved, and David Smith did that on purpose, because if it was FDA approved as a medical device, only medical people could recommend it. And then it's not going to get out to the masses of the people. He purposely chose to have it FDA cleared as a wellness device. So we can't make medical claims because we're not doctors, but we can recommend the product and we can share personal testimonies. And so what you're about to see is a 4-minute clip. These are people we know. So there's about 28 minutes, 30 minutes of personal testimony that we've reduced down into 4 minutes. So these are just highlights. These are amazing stories. So if you get a chance to hear a little bit more about these stories, you'll be able to just ask Maya, or I can certainly give you access to some of those. These are people we know personally. These are our friends and family. These are not people in America that you've never heard of, or well, you've probably never heard of them because they're in Australia or New Zealand, but these are our family, these are our friends, these are our business colleagues that we've introduced to the X39.
We love this product. This has changed our family's life.
This X39 had to be something special.
Our son, he went from being bedridden to actually playing Division 2 rep basketball this year.
I caught a virus that attacked the brain. It left me totally powerless in every sense of the word. It was really a hard life. X39 literally exploded in my body and I was able to think again. I had a brain.
I have had diagnosis of endometriosis in my bladder, suffering from chronic UTIs from probably the age of 14. My nana put a couple of patches on me one day and my pain was just gone instantly. And I have had recurring menstruating cycles with no UTIs and no pain. It has helped immensely with my anxiety. I sleep better.
A few months ago, I got diagnosed with a blood sugar level of 117. If I continued the way I was, I'd be on kidney dialysis and possibly die. I started using the X39 along with SB6. So come down from 117 to 60.
I had a pain in my bottom for 11 months that nothing helped. I had tried all the essential oils known to mankind. So it was miraculous that I met up with Vanessa at the markets on the Gold Coast, and she gave me a patch and said, pop off to the bathroom and put this on your bottom and see what happens. Guys, in 20 minutes, all the pain had left my body. Like, this was total life-changing.
Well, I played a lot of rugby when I was younger. I had 2 shoulder reconstructions. 2.5 years I've been battling with that. Just 3.5 weeks after wearing this patch, and I wasn't expecting this. It completely blindsided me.
The biggest thing I noticed, the menopause. So the brain fog, hot flushes, the sleep. That was a big thing for me. And I didn't actually realize how bad it was until all of a sudden the brain fog lifted. I'm not as tired. I can go through the whole day.
I used to have migraines, very bad. I couldn't do anything but sleep. I have started using the LifeWave X39 patch. It saved me. It saved me. A big thing I've noticed is mental clarity. I can think clearly. I can do stuff.
We basically have a daughter who had 3 major brain traumas. After 6 weeks of patching the X39 on her body and her brain, it was like we got our daughter back.
I got energy after like my 6th or 7th day, and even my brain fog that I had from COVID, ADHD, my central nervous system. It's been a game changer for me.
Since I was a kid, I have had a sharp pain in my lower back, and they've never actually been able to tell me what it is. I started wearing the patches. I noticed after about a week that it was less. I wasn't wiggling as much. I wasn't taking as many anti-inflammatories or pain relief. It's been a month now and it's basically gone. My sleeps are definitely better, a lot more energy. I mean, it's been over 30 years since I've had it. Different person now.
I noticed a difference almost immediately. As soon as I started wearing X39, the neuropathy in my feet dramatically reduced.
I had a car accident, so I suffered concussion. So after 4 months of concussion, I said, screw this, I've got to try these X39s. Bang. Suddenly, what the hell? I can think. I'm clear. So suddenly I'm operating back at my normal speed, which is flat out. What a difference.
Literally 12 months, I patched and didn't tell a single soul. Can I just let you all know, don't do that. And then I saw the results in my body. My wife started patching, saw results in the first week. This works. There are thousands of people in 75 countries all over the world being helped by this technology. This product gives hope.
So we're forever grateful for this product. We think everybody should be using this.
For us, we would have done it just to get our daughter back in that way.
Quite amazing, really, aren't they? And, you know, some of those are very powerful. I mean, Ray with the diabetes, Ray's an ex-policeman. And Doug is a very successful, high-profile real estate agent in Christchurch. Matt he's my son. So there's quite a wide range. Jeremy, the very last one, when he says he'd been patching for 12 months before he told anybody, he was very lucky to survive a head-on car crash. And so if you get a chance to listen to that story, that's just the end of his story. But he shouldn't have, you know, he was so lucky to be alive. And but he puts that down to the patches. So look, there's so many different testimonials we can share with you and show you. You see things like a lady with a curved back. That's obviously scoliosis. You know, the wound healing. Wound healing is a big thing with this. I had back surgery the back end of 2023. I overdid it in the gym and really did some damage to my back. But then I got onto the patches about 2 months after that. And then the surgeon said to me, he said, I can't believe how quickly you've healed. This is amazing. So I didn't have the patches before the surgery. I actually had them after. I wished I had them before, because there are actually surgeons in the US now are recommending people go on the X39 a month before they have surgery, and then they at least a month afterwards, and hopefully they stay on it to help them heal quickly. So look, you can see the lady there from the puffy with all the allergies, the clear, bright skin. The young boy had nearly lost his finger, and the surgeon said, well, we're going to take it off. Because it's so infected. But the X39, the dad said, I want to try the X39 first. Saved his finger. And you can see the burning rashes. This is a great slide with it. You can see the collagen coming back in people, the before and afters. And as I said early on, why this is so important is because the wrinkles and the thin skin is also happening internally. So it takes time for that to happen externally. Some people get their hair color back, not everybody. I have. I was really quite grey. And Andrea keeps saying, I can't believe how dark you are. Your hair is getting, even my hairdressing doesn't believe it. So he joined up because he saw the results in my hair. He thought I was colouring my hair. I said, mate, you've known me for 35 years. I've never coloured my hair. And so he was so convinced when he saw my hair colour change that he wanted to start using the patches. There's a lot of doctors that are recommending this, and you can find these on YouTube, or you can find these on the site. I'm going to recommend you have a look at in a moment. Two of my favourites, Dr. Stacey and Dr. Harmon. Very good. Dr. Harmon's written a number of books. And he's really helped me understand so much about the GHK. So look, we literally get good news every single day. There's not a day goes by we don't hear about something that has happened to somebody, life-changing health outcomes. But look, if you're brand new here, have a look at This Is It Info, or even if you've been here for a little while, go to This Is It Info. It's a great site. On the front page, there's a whole bunch, well, there's 3 videos. A couple of them are just very short videos, explains light therapy, how the X39 works. David Smith is talking there. There's also, as you scroll down, there's doctors talking about why they recommend this. So there's plenty of information on that site. You can see the patents, you can see the studies, you can see more testimonials. But look, I just wanted to change tack a little bit and just talk about the business model for the last 5-10 minutes. But really, LifeWave is a 20-year-old company. So this is not just something that's popped up. They've got a 20-year history in a tough American market, and they have just grown and grown. They've gone leaps and bounds. If you look at this here, in 2021, it was a $20 million company. That's what it was turning over. Then this came on the market, the X39, and then it jumped. 2024, it was 600 million. That's a 3,000% growth trajectory. Last year, it was just close to $1 billion. Now, most of this is repeat business. So a company can't be that successful and have that much repeat business if the product doesn't work. So it works, and the product is not on trial. It works. It works incredibly well. It's just whether you want to use it yourself and you want to recommend it. In fact, to be honest, you won't be able to help yourself. You want to recommend it to people because you want your friends to share in the same results. So David Smith chose the direct sales model. And the reason he did that was because that's the fastest way to get something to market. You can put something, through the normal retail chain, millions of dollars in advertising, wholesaler, retailer. By the time it gets to the consumer, it's very expensive. It'll be 5-6 times the price, and it may not sell. It'll be hard to get it out through direct sales, word of mouth, person-to-person marketing. That's how it's got to become $1 billion company in such a short time. So LifeWave was ranked number 1 in momentum last year in the direct sales business. Last year, they won the Stem Cell Innovation of the Year. It's a Biotech Breakthrough Award. Thousands of people or companies, high-profile companies applying for that, and a whole bunch of countries. So but LifeWave won that. So, and it's a very prestigious award. So look, just some people will just come on and they'll just use their patches for their own personal well-being. Other people want to make a business out of it. So if you were to say, hey, look, I wouldn't mind making a side income, a small income, a medium income, or replace your current income, or make a significant amount of income, there's always a reason why someone would look at this. It could be that, hey, I want to earn another $500 a week, or I want to earn, $5,000 a week. So it just depends what your motivation is. For me, it was time. We own and operate. When I looked at this, we owned and operated 6 fairly large companies. Since we've been involved in that, we've sold 3 of those because I want to focus more on this. But we still have 3 fairly sizable companies, plus an events business, and I'm involved in accounting business and some other things. So but for me, it was time. I wanted more time with my family. And the other thing is, this is a golden opportunity. I don't believe opportunities like this come along in our lifetime, where the timing, the product, and the exclusivity, it all comes together. So if you compare this to conventional business, I mean, because when you register with LifeWave, it's like you've just bought the distribution rights. It's like setting up a franchise. You've got all the systems, all the processes, but you don't have to pay the high cost for a franchise or distribution rights for most companies. So when you look traditional at a normal conventional business, high startup costs, there's always risk. If you're going into business, you're borrowing from the bank, there's always risk. There's long hours. I've worked 80 to 100 hours for as long as I can remember. There's trial and error, the amount of money you lose by, just trying different things. But there's always limited potential, and that's because there's only one of you. There's only so much you can do. The beauty of the LifeWave business, it's a low startup cost. You can start this on a credit card. There's no risk. You make your own schedule. You do this from home. It's a home-based internet business. I personally like getting out, talking to people face to face, but you can do this like we're doing here. I'm in New Zealand. I'm in Christchurch right now. So we can build the business globally from home. It's a proven system, so it's all there. And there's unlimited earning potential because you're able to duplicate yourself. So if you're looking for an opportunity to become wealthy or set up a really good business, you need to find a solution to someone's problems. And that's all business is. Here's a problem that people are encountering. I'm going to provide a solution for it, and you get paid for that solution. You think about delivery, Uber Eats, couriers. That's just finding a solution to people's problems. But the big problem at the moment is that every single person has stem cells. That's not the problem. The problem is everybody's stem cells are declining. And so that's why we're healing a lot slower and aging faster. And the other problem is so many people are struggling financially. You'll know them over there. We see them in New Zealand. It's a global thing. People are struggling to make ends meet. They find it's really hard to spend $500 or $1,000 to start a new business, yet they've been working for 40 years. So that tells me they definitely need to look at something else. What the solution here is the X39 reactivates your dormant stem cells and allows your body to heal itself from the inside out. And there is an incredible income generating business attached to this just by talking to people. So how it works is because you will register with the company, you get a unique identifying number from the company, and they will deal directly with you. They'll ship the product to you. But you can now recommend other people to the company, and they get a unique identifying number. The company ships to them. So I don't pay anybody commissions. I don't provide products to people. All I do is recommend them to the company, and then I tell them about the product, and then I register them or I roll them with the company under my number. So we just build a left team and a right team by doing that, and so that will grow. Now, there is something like 9 ways of making money, but the very first one is what we call a binary bonus. It's a volume bonus, because as you refer people to the company rewards you for sending them that business. They take 60% of their volume and give it to people like us for recommending the company. Now, that first way of making money, there is the potential to earn 25,000 US per week. Now, you do your maths on that. That's well in excess of $1 million a year. But that's not going to happen overnight. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is a proper, legitimate business that if you build it properly, you use the system and the pattern, just like if you buy a McDonald's franchise, if you change the system, it doesn't work. But if you stick to the system, you're going to make some good money. So people just coming on, we have a launch bonus, and Maya can teach you about that. But it's just really, referring 2 people, you're going to start making money straight away. You refer 4 people, 2 on your left team and 2 on your right team. That's going to, what's that going to give you? Well, they're certainly going to give you an introductory bonus of $50 a week. Plus, you would also pick up an immediate introductory bonus of around about $300 or so. So you pretty quickly, within a week or 2, by referring 4 people, you're going to cover the cost of your product. There's matching bonuses. Look, there's just so many different ways. By helping other people build their business and create volume, you are going to get some extra income. But it just duplicates. Excuse me. And look, it'll go, and you won't be able to stop it, which is great. I mean, Andrew and I could not stop what we have already created, because we've got other people out there. We've got people in the Bahamas right now on their LifeWave cruise, people we introduced, who are out there talking to people on the boat on the cruise. So how do you become involved? So to get the distribution rights, to get a unique identifying number or access the product at wholesale or be able to set up a business, you need to become a brand partner. So there is no cost to join with LifeWave. What it is you buy an introductory pack. So for less than a cup of coffee, that's all this is. I don't think I even mentioned this at the beginning, sorry, but this is less than a cup of coffee a day. Now, today I'll drink 2 coffees. So this is less than the 2 coffees I drink. About $6 New Zealand, $6.50 New Zealand a day. It's about $3 in the States. So if you convert that to the euro, we have a saying in New Zealand, it's as cheap as chips. It's very affordable. But so here is a sleeve. Now, inside the sleeve is 30 of these, so it's a month's worth. And we talk in sleeves. We call these patches, and we call these sleeves. So a sleeve is 99 US, and that's a month worth. So if you are only wanting to use the product just for your own use, you want to access it wholesale, you don't want to pay retail, you don't want to share in any of the profits, well, then you'd come on at core. And that is 3, all you do is you get your first 3 sleeves, and there'll be one for you, one for your significant other, and one for maybe another family member. Now, that's a one-time cost, by the way. People think, is that $295 US a month? No. That's just, you're getting 3 of these. You're getting 3 lots of product. The advanced sleeve, you get 6. the advanced pack, enrollment pack. So if you want to build a business, you want to share in the profits, come on at advanced, because and you get 6 of these sleeves that activates the whole compensation plan. And that also will allow you. I mean, we initially came on at advanced, and the reason that we came on at advanced is because I thought, well, I wasn't going to build the business when I first came on. I thought I'm going to need one for me. I'm going to need one from Andrea, and I'm going to give them to my kids. But probably for the serious entrepreneur coming on at the premium pack, and you're going to get 20 sleeves. It's the best price point. You're going to get a number of free sleeves within that. You're also going to, within that, you're going to get some free auto ship, as they call it. But the other really important, this is a subscription model. So you get your enrollment pack, and then you go on a monthly subscription. So if you're a single, you might just go on 1 sleeve subscription, although I recommend it's 2. Or you go on a 2 sleeve subscription. So every month I'll just send you 2 sleeves by courier. And then the whole thing spreads on from there. So it's really just deciding where you want. If you want to come in just to use the product at wholesale, that's fine. But if you want to build a business in $500, maybe $1,000, maybe even $100,000 a year, but as I said, or even a 7-figure income. But as I said, those sort of incomes are going to happen over building this consistently for 3 to 5 years. So we've got all the resources, my last slide, but these are all the resources that we have, that you have access to. It's in different languages. This is at Info. It's a great site for the product. This is at Team. That's where you learn to build the business. That's how you learn to contact people, learn how to structure your business. You'll just learn so much through there. There's the motivation. There's everything. That's like your franchisor supporting you with the system. That's your McDonald's franchise. So just wrapping up, I'll just stop sharing as I wrap up. Guys, just go back to the person that invited you along. Maya's doing an incredible job over in London. She's gathering a really strong team, not only in London, but that team is going to spread throughout Europe. We believe totally in her. She has our admiration. She has our support. She has our love. We're coming to London in May. Andrea and I will do some meetings for you. We can get a hall, and we can bring people in, and we can do meetings. We can do this sort of meeting. We can do training meetings. But look, it is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. You'll come up against opposition, and the reason you will come up against opposition, because it's new. This is a new technology. But give it 2 or 3 years. You watch, people will be walking around with patches on all over the place, and you'll be able to join up in 2 or 3 years and make some money. But the big money is going to be made now, when it's new, when it's not fashionable, when we're pioneering it. Well, it is fashionable. It's just not, people don't understand it. And things that people don't understand, they tend to hide from. But look, I've been involved for 12 months. I cannot, we even sold a very large business because I want to spend more time on this. I see this as one of the greatest opportunities of our lifetime. Not only is it a world-class product, we've got exclusivity for another 15 years. But we are the pioneers. We're new. The timing is perfect. So look, it's been a real pleasure sharing with you.